Good morning. Thanks so much for joining. Let me know where you're joining from. It's a beautiful day. It's another day to spend with one another and learn and grow and live and move in our being. I'm just quickly sharing this. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes for people to join, and I invite you to share this and invite others to join us and dine and wine this morning as we share we break bread together and we kind of support each other's growth this morning. Thanks for viewing. Let me know where you're viewing from. I can't really see who is on. Facebook is not showing me who's on. Let me know who's on and where you're viewing from. This morning I'm talking about how is your relationship with yourself. One of the things that I'm passionate about and I believe is part of my purpose is helping people find who they are prior to going into a relationship. And one of the things that we need to understand about finding ourselves is that when we know the truth about who we are, when we really come to realize the truth about who we are, we stop really giving in to get hurt, and we stop really giving in to carry somebody's yoke on our own head, realizing the fact that we were created for a purpose, and God's plan is to prosper, not to harm us, but to give us a hope and a future. This morning I'm sharing because I got a question in my inbox, which I'm going to address later, but I want to start first with the relationship with yourself. How well do you know you? How well are you connecting with you? How well are you building that relationship with yourself? How well do you know that you are a spiritual being prior to being a physical being? How well are you connecting to your spiritual side than you do connect to your physical side? These questions I'm asking because when you truly know who you are, when you're able to recognize that everyone that you come in contact with is there to awaken something in you, is there to help you connect with you, is there to help you realize the reason why you're getting hurt and why you're carrying the yoke, you begin to truly connect with your truth. And that truth can only set you free. That truth can only set you free. Let me know if this is resonating with you and if we're connecting together. I don't like a one-sided conversation. I believe that when you're communicating, it's two-way, and that way we're building into one another, and I'm able to also relate with you from where you are. Like I was sharing, a relationship with ourselves helps us, first of all, realize who we are. And I've documented this in all my books: Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality, Being Single, A State for the Fragile Heart, and Beyond the Pain. When you're able to realize that you're a spiritual being prior to being a physical being, you do not run on your emotions, but you learn to wait and see what is happening when something happens to you in a situation. It may be a relationship. A relationship that is breaking you may only be breaking you because you're taking on the yoke. Let me say that again. A relationship that is breaking you may only be breaking you because you're taking on the yoke without connecting to your spirituality and really connecting and asking yourself the question, what is this teaching me about me? We've been conditioned, but like I always say, by the tradition, the culture, the society, to believe that we have enemies. But the truth is, when you connect to people who awaken a truth in you, you may feel that they're your haters and your enemies, and you may miss out in your own blessing. Let me say that again. When you connect to people who may hurt you, who may bring you the truth, who may awaken something in you, you may not connect to that truth or that awakening because we've been so conditioned to believe that people who do things to us hate us and are our enemies. But the truth is, when you become enlightened to the truth about what that person is saying to you, when you become awakened to part of you that was dead, that wasn't really connecting to that truth, you're able to say, yes, this is something about me I may not know. This is something about me I may not know. Yesterday, I got a question in my inbox about a mother who is going through a divorce, and her ex-husband is trying to disconnect from them and the children, and she doesn't know how to communicate the message to the children. She was going to utter a statement to the children that your father has chosen not to be in your life, but I had to ask her the question, what do you see in this man at this moment? She couldn't really resonate with it. The man was in a place of pain at that moment. The man was carrying a yoke at that moment. The man could not see anything else but his pain in that very moment. And so when you go in that moment and tell your children, your father doesn't want to be in your life, what you're sowing is a seed of resentment. But you're not really connecting to the true you, because when you view him from the spiritual perspective, you're able to see that he needs time to heal. And you're not going to force him to be in a place of pain and inflict pain on the children who do not deserve it. So I said to her, say to your children in this moment, your dad is hurting and needs some time. Let's pray for him so that he can come to a place where he feels better and he's ready to connect to you. We've been conditioned to believe that when somebody doesn't want to be in our life, it's because they don't care. But people go through pain, and until you're able to connect to your spiritual side, before you're able to really see what somebody else is going through, because again, we are created in God's image and after God's likeness, and we all look the same. We may not have the same composition, but we are all the same. Because when you're able to fully know who you are, and you're able to love yourself enough, and you understand your composition, you're able to understand somebody else. But without knowing you, without understanding you, without building that relationship with yourself first, it becomes difficult to understand other people. And what happens is you take on a yoke, the pain, the hurt. But who is carrying that yoke? You. You carry that yoke in that moment and begin to become resentful and bitter. Again, pain only resides in a place where love does not exist. Let me say that again. And somebody can tweet that. Pain only resides in a place where love does not exist. You can only take on pain when you're not ready to connect to your true self. When you're not ready to find you. When you don't know who God really created you to be. You can take on pain and say, I'm taking on this yoke. But what breaks that yoke is when you begin to connect to your true essence that God created you as, the love that you are, and you begin to understand how to love yourself enough. Because when you don't love you, all you can do is carry on yoke and connect to people that will add to that yoke of pain. You would only connect to people that will hurt you because something in you desires to grow, but as long as there's pain underlying, you would attract pain to yourself. And so people will hurt you because there's still a lot of pain shoved underneath the rug. Again, I have documented this in my books, Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality, Being Single, and Beyond the Pain. I encourage you to get these books to find yourself. Because the moment you begin to find yourself, you begin to understand that no one can hurt you except you choose to accept the pain. No one can hurt you. We choose what we accept. We choose who we invite into our space, and we choose what we allow and process. Every thought that you process when you're in pain would only add more yoke to your pain. It's like wanting to be in a relationship, but you don't know you and you don't understand you enough, and you're connecting to someone who doesn't know and understand themselves enough. What happens in that situation? You're going to take on a lot of more yoke. You're going to take on a lot of more pain because you may be trying to please them just to make them who you want them to be without realizing they need to be who God created them to be. Let me say that one more time. When you do not know and understand you in your relationship, and you're connecting to someone who does not know and understand themselves in a relationship, you may end up trying to please them, trying to make them come into your life by all means. And what happens is you will lose yourself in the process of trying to please somebody else while trying to make them who you want them to be, but not who God created them to be. And so what happens when that relationship ends is that you begin to hurt because you've taken up another yoke without knowing you. You've taken up another pain without knowing you. You've chosen to accept a situation that is breaking you and making you lose yourself, then find yourself. The yoke breaks. The yoke breaks. And every yoke we take on breaks us and shifts us from our spiritual side, who we truly are, to who we're not. The yoke breaks. And the only way to find yourself and know who you are is to connect back to the you that God created, the spiritual being, and begin to say, this thing that I've gone through, this process that I've gone through, this relationship that I've gone through, what is he helping me to find about myself? What is he helping me to connect to? What truth lies in this situation that I need to own? And so what happens is the moment we lose ourselves, it becomes difficult to find ourselves. 5 years ago, like I've always shared on this platform and other platforms where I've spoken nationally, locally, and internationally, when I found myself 5 years ago, it was a very painful process. I did not know who I was until I was 41, and I'm still in the process of finding myself. I don't really know me that much. I know myself the more I connect to God on a daily basis. I know myself the more I allow God to reveal to me the things that I still need to work on. I know myself more as people begin to bring to my awareness the things that I need to work on. And so this morning I ask you, how well do you know you? How well are you allowing the situations and the relationships that you're connecting to help you find you? How well are you learning the lessons that help you connect to your true essence? How well? What man sees and what you see is what is in front of the scene. Let me say that again. What man sees and what you see is what is in front of the scene. In front of the scenes. But what God sees is what is behind the scenes. Let me say that one more time. What you see and what others see are what is in front of the scenes. But what God sees is what is behind the scene. Everything that happens undercover that you know but refuse to connect to is what God sees and brings to your awareness when you begin to connect to the real you. What you see and what you choose to see are two different things. What you choose to see is what you want to make happen. But what you need to see is what God is bringing to your awareness every time you accept a yoke that breaks you. What God wants to bring to your awareness is what you need to see every time you accept a yoke that breaks you. So when you're in a relationship that doesn't work out, that breaks down, and the partner goes away, it's an opportunity for you to wake up and see that you were taking on a yoke that was breaking you and shifting you away from who you were truly created to be. How well do you know and understand you? And what are you going to do with this knowledge that I'm sharing this morning to help you connect to the true you, so that you can begin to break the yoke, so that you can begin to live and walk in your true essence, and so that you can find you, understand you, love you enough prior to connecting to others and beginning to build that relationship. What are you going to do to find you? And how well are you going to choose to know and understand you? The yoke is broken as long as you begin to stand up and own your truth and live for who God created you to be, not who the world thinks that you should be, or who you think you should be, but who God created you to be. That's when the yoke becomes broken. That's when you begin to shift and own your moments and own your true essence and begin to live and not exist. Time is life, and life is time. But you can choose to begin to find the real you God created, to begin to break the yoke that is breaking you, the pain and the hurt, and begin to connect to the truth and walk in your true essence and purpose. Joseph had to do that. He connected with his purpose when God showed him the dreams, and he walked through that journey of being hurt, of being afflicted, but he never connected to the yoke. He knew the purpose he had to fulfill, and he kept going, even when he was thrown in jail. Even when Potiphar's wife tried to seduce him, he knew he had a purpose, the only reason he was created, but did not take on the yoke of compromising who he was created to be, but decided to walk in the truth and connect to his purpose. Distractions will come. What looks good to be true will come. They're all distractions. Time wasters will come. Afflictors will come. But you have to decide not to take on the yoke of pain, but to find yourself. You have to decide. This is my purpose in life, to help people find who they are, to help people understand what love is first for themselves prior to other people, building relationship with others and giving that love to others, helping them know what works best for themselves so that they can build healthier, truthful, and purposeful relationships that will make their lives become better, not bitter. These I chose to walk in when I found myself 5 years ago. And today I'm inviting you to connect to that and begin to learn to find yourself Begin to learn to connect to your purpose. Begin to learn to discard the yoke and begin to learn to move beyond the pain. I invite you to connect with me if this resonates with you and you want to start a brand new 2017 on a brand new note. I invite you to connect with me via Facebook inbox or emailing me coaching@kemisogunle.com. I also invite you, if this resonates with you and you want to begin to make a change, to get these books that will help you build better. To get these books that will help you begin to connect to your truth and find yourself. Beyond the Pain, Being Single, and Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality. You only can make the decision to change your life. You only can make the decision to connect with your true essence, and you only can make that decision to walk in the truth for which God created you. No one can do it but you. And so today I invite you to join me in taking that walk of a new beginning this moment without making without making a decision to change. When you hear a message within 24 to 48 hours, you're only going to, relapse back into the old. 24 to 48 hours, you have the opportunity. I have also posted below, I can't remember what day I posted it, the 12 weeks purposeful relationship mastery. I'm giving it out to 3 people for free. I'm leaving it open until the 31st of December. If you're interested in taking that walk of change and connecting and living in your true essence, go ahead and email me coaching@kemisogunle.com or inbox me on Facebook. Again, I encourage you, get the books if you cannot connect to me, and begin to help yourself build on a brand new you going forward. Only you can live the purpose that which God created you, but time doesn't wait for you, because we're only guaranteed this moment, this minute, this hour. Nobody knows the next. It may be time to go home back to God, and it may be time to still remain here. But tomorrow is not guaranteed either. We only have this moment. And while we have this moment, I encourage and challenge you to find you, live your truthful purpose, and live the life that will help you become better, not bitter. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll connect with you sometime again this week. Stay blessed and have a wonderful day.